cell phone to be on. I think we can hear you over the computer part of it.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me look at that because I don't think that's accurate. Let me look. Oh, yeah. No, I think you're right. I think you're right. I think we're
Cindy, can you
hearing
hear
her
me?
now on the computer.
Cindy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, you can hang up
shut
your
off
cell phone then.
Can you hang up your cell phone, Cindy? Okay,
And now you can talk, Cindy?
I don't know if I can or not.
Yes, you can.
you can.
Okay.
We can hear
Oh,
you.
okay.
We're all good.
We're
Cool.
all good now.
We're all good
Okay.
then.
So
right.
go ahead, Bill. You're all set to start.
Okay, the meeting now is open. Beach Commission meeting at 7:04. Bill Ryan present. Who else is present?
We have
Mayato
Michael
present.
Fogarelli present, Joe Mayato present, and Donald Maderas present. Absent
Okay.
is Patrick Canane.
They can speak for themselves, Carol.
They can, but sometimes it's hard because you don't know who's going to speak next.
Yeah.
And you also have Jim Farrell, who has just signed on, who is your beach manager.
Okay. So, Joe, what do we have on the first agenda there?
We have the approval of the minutes of three meetings, December 8th, December 23rd, and January 12th. Has everyone received those minutes?
I received the 12th. I'm sorry, did the 8th and the 23rd come in sooner?
Yeah, they
Yeah,
came in
it came
quite a
in
while
last
ago.
week.
Oh dear, okay, I thought it was, I got confused. I thought it was copies of the same thing. I didn't pay close enough attention. I do have the January 12th minutes though, that I read.
I think we really need to accept these other minutes because we've been passing them off for quite a while.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're well beyond the time frame for what the
Yeah.
regulation says.
Now, 3 members is enough to approve? 3 yay votes is enough to approve minutes? Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes. And
All right.
and all you're approving is for them to be placed on file.
Yeah.
All right, so I just won't vote on the 2 that I haven't read, but I'll vote on the one that I did read in terms of acceptance.
All right, why don't we just do them one at a time to keep it clean? I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of the December 8th meeting.
Do we have a second?
Mike Focarelli, you're muted.
I'll second. I'm muted
All
because
in-
my dogs are barking.
Oh.
Donnie? All in favor?
Aye. Joe Mayato.
Mike Fogarelli, aye.
Bill Ryan, aye.
Don Maderas abstain.
Okay, so it's 3 with 1 abstention.
Okay, so it's
Passes.
accepted.
Yes.
You got that, Cindy, right?
I do.
Okay. Jimmy, what's going on? It looks like you're down here at the beach.
Oh, that's it. I'm gonna feel like I'm with you, you know?
All right, so I'm going to move that we accept the minutes of the meeting of December 23rd now.
Do I have a second?
Michael Fogarelli, second.
All in favor?
Joe Mayato, aye.
Michael Fogarelli, aye.
Bill Ryan, aye.
Don Maderas abstain.
Okay. 3 with 1 abstention, so it passes.
Okay, and now I'm going to make a motion that we accept the minutes of the January 12th meeting unless somebody has any discussion about it.
Do I have a second?
Fogarelli, second.
All in favor?
Joe Mayato, aye.
Michael Fogarelli, aye.
Bill Ryan, aye.
Don
Motion
Maderas,
carried.
It
Donnie,
was-
you
it
said
was-
aye as well, right?
Yes, it
Yes.
was unanimous that time.
Okay. All right, the next item on the agenda are bills. As far as I know, I don't think we have any.
We have none.
Okay,
But
That was an
for the
easy one.
record, you will have a payroll one for some hours that I did for you for Zoom.
Yes.
That went through payroll this week, so it'll be assigned against your account.
Okay.
all right, we should get a copy of that, Carol, for our
Yeah.
records, right?
I'll send it to you.
All right. So that Cindy can file it when.
Because
whenever
we approved that a while ago, didn't we, Carol?
You did, but it just took a while before they finally did it.
Okay,
Yep.
You get a copy of that to me also, so I can put it into the,
I'll
Yeah.
send you an email of what those hours were.
sounds good.
All right, perfect. And then the next item is to review the Nature Conservancy's request to CRMC to modify the Goosewing Beach Ascent, the Goosewing Breaching Ascent permit. Donnie, do you want to take that one?
Sure. So I assume everybody got a copy of the email from CRMC. It was a response to a request by TNC. It was sent to me. I forwarded to the commission members. I assume everybody got a chance to read it.
Yes, this is the one from Dave Reese from CRMC.
That's correct. Will you read that, Joe? I think it was pretty brief.
Yeah,
Can you
I'll read the most recent because it's about 20 pages with all the previous emails, but the first one is just basically a paragraph. And this is directed to John Berg from TNC. It says, "Hello, John. We are sorry that you and the Nature Conservancy has been caught up in this issue with the Town Beach Commission. We also very much appreciate your efforts to work with the Beach Commission to resolve this matter. However, the Beach Commission also has to do their part. We will not be able to modify this ascent until the Beach Commission submits a valid application. This application must include an authorization or an easement from the Nature Conservancy for the Beach Commission to do work on Conservancy land associated with maintaining the temporary breachway. We have clearly informed the Commission of this requirement, and they have not accepted it. The CRMC is not prepared to determine or otherwise agree to the Commission's assertion that they have some sort of implied right on the property of another party without legal determination to this effect. We request that the Conservancy please be prepared to provide RIDEM access to the property to accommodate the spring herring run in case this is not resolved with the Beach Commission before that time." And so that was the one that Donnie forwarded to everybody. I think this is related to the whole legal matter of who owns the property and so forth, that thing with the filing. Did you get a chance to meet with the lawyer, Don?
No, I didn't. No, I didn't. So what I'm taking from this letter is this is a copy to the commission of their correspondence with TNC, and I don't know that we need to or are being directed to take any action. I think it was really just, I assume it was provided to us as an FYI. So we need to read it, recognize it, but I don't know that we necessarily need to, that there's anything to take action on.
Well, I don't think that we necessarily need to respond to this. It's not directed to us and asking us for a response, but it's indicating that, that they're displeased, obviously, with the Beach Commission. But I think that the resolution to this really has to be with the lawyers. I mean, it's one way or another. They keep going on about this. So it's either that TNC legally has control and possession of that property, or we do, one or the other. And I think that in the past, Jimmy, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that we've talked in the past about the fact that going way back that Dick Humphrey was involved in some kind of discussions, negotiations with that, going way back to the Jane Cabot days, and he should have a file on that. And then, maybe we could, by getting him involved, we could get some documentation to them evidencing that, if that's the fact. If that's not the fact, I think we need to move on with this personally, because I'd like to see us more in concert with the CRMC and TNC, all working together instead of against each other. And we have the big advantage that, and I keep forgetting the other guy's name, but Don Gomes, and then Mike, didn't you have another guy that,
I did,
Mike
but
Hudner.
one of the things is that Don Gomes, so while you've been out of Rhode Island, there was a big marina approved in Block Island, and the legislature got involved and held up the renewal of the appointment of 3 CRMC representatives, including Donald Gomes. So
oh,
at the moment, he is not being renewed until the legislature, it was a simple renewal from the governor's office, and the legislature's getting involved and backtracking on the renewal of those 3 members of CRMC. So, but I do have Mike Hudner who's still on.
what, why are they, I don't understand how that
There
one
was-
situation,
Well, because I guess CRMC had the approval of this marina, or there was some approval of it. Jim probably knows more than I do, or maybe he doesn't. But anyway, coincidentally, the members, there's 3 members of the CRMC board that came up for renewal. It normally is just a simple nod from the governor, but the legislature, because there was some contention about this marina, some kind of, maybe, I know you can't imagine this, but in Rhode Island, there was some kind of corruption accusations. I know it's unheard of in this state, but so the legislature got involved, and they have yet to renew the positions, including Donald Gomez. So,
okay. Well, regardless, I mean, maybe
Yeah.
that'll get resolved or it won't, but I think that it's just a coincidental big benefit to us that we have 2 people from town, or maybe 1.5 now, whatever. But it seems to me that if we could get like face to face with those guys down at the beach first, and, you know, get their support, and then try to get the CRMC people down there along with TNC and us actually physically looking at the beach, and the whole issue about vegetation, and it's not have ever been a vegetated area, and explain that to them and where the points are and everything. I think once everybody gets together and can physically see it and face to face, it's a lot easier to agree with people, and maybe get their support, and then go back to the Providence people and try to get this put behind us. This has been dragging on for what, over a year now?
Yeah.
Getting close to it. Yeah, I think so.
I think that it's to our benefit to have them on our side, you know?
Well, I think, Bill, I think, let's invite them down, you know, before we respond to any of this.
Right. No, I don't think we need to
And they
respond
run
to this
away.
letter, but I think that it's important for us to have the documentation from that Dick Humphrey should have from that, you know, those communications so many years ago.
Yes, I was there, and there was nothing said about this piece of land that we're talking about. It had to do with that bridge in the right of way through the parking lot. That wasn't an issue back then.
I think, Bill, though, I do think we did go down, the whole commission went down. I know that first year I was there, with one of the marvels was down and saying that all those big rocks on the eastern side of the
Yes.
creek, that was the boundary of the property line. And I don't know whether there was anything legal there at that point in time or not, but
The marbles had those rocks put in.
If that's the boundary, then clearly the whole breachway, everything is on our side. And maybe if we get a letter from Humphrey saying that, then that'll make the state happy with this whole thing.
I think it's the, and this is where it gets all mucky. TNC needs to tell CRMC that they're relinquishing the claim to that breachway.
yeah, I agree with you 100%.
That's the way it has to go. TNC is the one that's holding this up because they're claiming that we're breaching on their land. They need to relinquish that accusation. It's up to them to release
Right,
that.
but I
non-CRMC
think
get involved.
we got approved from Tony to have Dick Humphrey address this. So if we get documentation from Dick Humphrey and get John Berg to come down or whatever and
I would get
discuss it
John
face to
Torgan.
face.
I wouldn't go way above John Berg.
You would or you would not?
I would definitely go above John Berg.
Oh, right. Well, and that's fine. I was just thinking he's local, and I think face to face is very important in this situation, in my
agree,
opinion.
but I think that the face-to-face has to happen with John Torgan, who's the head of TNC. John Berg, I love John Berg. I think he's a terrific guy. But I think that this matter, I don't know, he caused this matter. I don't know how it happened, but he was the one that actually filed. And so somebody above John Berg needs to instruct him to do whatever he needs to do, but we need to settle with TNC before we get CRNC involved.
Right, but I think it's going to give us a lot of ammunition if we have Dick Humphrey get involved and provide whatever that we already have clearance for him to do that, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I think I agree with both of you. I think that Don Maderas, I think that we should go through a meeting with Dick Humphrey to get his opinion and thoughts on it. I'm kind of glad that we didn't rush out to do that, because I think as we've talked about this a little more, we're better informing ourselves as to the question that we're really asking Dick going to be asking Dick to answer. That's the Dick Humphrey side. On Mike's point, I think that, yeah, the solution here is going to be with TNC and not CRMC, in terms of CRMC is going to issue the permit to whoever shows they're the landowner. So I think we really need to, if we're going to have a dialogue, I think we should have it with TNC to basically meet down there and say, look, we need to figure this thing out. The town's been using this property for decades and decades. They clearly have an adverse possession claim, and it's one the town can win. Now, presumably, nobody wants to enter into a lawsuit, whether you think you can win it or whether you're just unhappy and want to get into a lawsuit. So I think the way to approach this is to, now that things have kind of, circled around, maybe that's opened this last correspondence from CRMC is maybe pointing us in the direction of reaching out again to TNC. I agree. We should be reaching out to John Torgan, like Mike said, as we did the last time. And I think maybe our first field walk down there should be at least with people from TNC that can, that we can discuss the issues with. And then, because obviously if that meeting can result with an agreement, a method of understanding between the commission and TNC, then I think both parties can report the result back to CRMC so that then they would be comfortable issuing the permit. That's my thought, that's possibly one way we can address this.
Yeah, by the way, excuse me for 1 second, Donnie. Carol, is there anybody else on today?
You have someone that says Lynn Ryan. I don't know who that is. That could be a real name. It could be somebody else's name. There is another attendee.
All right. No, I was just wondering if we had any other attendees. That's nothing to do with you, Bill, right?
No.
Lynn Ryan? No. Yeah, I agree, Don. And again, I think that I certainly wasn't talking about a lawsuit when I'm saying that we, need to go over it with Dick Humphrey. But ultimately it's the town's property.
Right.
And if, you know, we're not in a position to give away the town's property. It's the town needs to support its own, you know, assets and liabilities. So I think that you know, it's important for us to inform Dick Humphrey and have him come up with some kind of documentation. So we're not into this perpetual he said, she said thing where we're saying it's ours, they're saying it's theirs. We're saying it's ours, they're saying it's theirs. And, you know, clearly they're kind of almost ridiculing the adverse possession thing. They don't call it adverse possession in that letter, but they called it something that or our assertion that we have some sort of implied right on the property of another party without a legal determination to this effect. So I think if we come up with some kind of a legal letter or something from Dick that shows that it's ours, then, you know, they've got to acknowledge that.
Sure. I mean, I think they have it the other way around, that TNC is asserting an implied right on a property that doesn't belong to them. So I think that we need to get Dick involved in just to give us some guidance of where we should go with this.
Yeah, I mean, CRMC is clearly recognizing TNC's right to the property. Right or wrong, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, which I think is wrong, and I think that the tone, I object to the tone of the letter where they're addressing TNC as the injured party.
Again, if you look at the tax map, it does list them as the owner of the property, like 70 feet into the parking lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So,
Well, I'll tell you what, they own 70 feet in the parking lot, but they have no right of way to get to it. And they have to remember that too.
Yeah.
Because they try to scam us on that, and that was the big deal.
well, and that's
We
the
can
point
keep
that
them
it
right
should
out
be,
of there.
it should be in everybody's interest for this to go the right way, because if we all of a sudden say, okay, then TNC, you can't come through our
That's right.
parking lot, you know,
That's
then
an
they have no
option.
way. So it's not in their interest to do that.
Right.
But it's in our interest to make sure that they understand that.
Yeah. Well, and that's why I think at this stage to get the legalities out there so that they have to recognize that.
And again, that piece of property there gains them nothing.
I know it.
It gains them absolutely nothing, you know.
Oh,
and again,
And like you said, Jimmy, I mean, for them to see that it's not something that's going to be vegetated in any way, shape, or form, and it never was. You know,
if it sticks the way it is, then they're going to be stuck with putting up the fence and making.
that's right. Why would we put up a fence on their property, right? Good point, Jim. Good point.
So I think as Jim pointed out, it's shown as on the tax map is their land extends underneath the east end of the beach. But clearly the town has been using and occupying that land for decades on behalf of the public. And this is where Dick is hopefully going to help shed some light on this. I believe that title by adverse possession, this isn't something I made up. It's something I've, attended seminars and heard speakers talking on, is that title by adverse possession passes when the elements are fulfilled. And I'm not trying to convince you guys of this, but I'm just trying to give you a little context. We'll ask Dick to confirm, refute, clarify, dispel. But basically, title passes when the elements are achieved. That is the period of 10 years, open and notorious to the exclusion of all others, to such an open degree that if you ask anyone in the community, who owns that property, the answer would always be, well, what do you mean? That's the beach, the town owns it. So in my opinion, all of those elements have been fulfilled. And title passes, unwritten title passes when those elements are fulfilled. Now, why is that not good enough for anybody who's in an adverse possession claim? Because they're looking for marketable title. Marketable title doesn't pass. You've got basically a cloud on the title, which banks won't finance for. So when any landowner is in an adverse possession issue, they need a judgment from the court to get clear marketable title. what they have going in, if they're the successful adverse possessor, they get judgment. What they have going in is color of title. The judge perfects it so that it's marketable. The town is not going to be selling that beach, so the town doesn't need marketable title or to prove it. That's just my opinion. I just wanted to give you the commission some context, and we'll put that to Dick Humphrey and see what.
Right. No, that's really good, Donnie. I mean, that's, obviously, all the legal terminology and all that stuff. And when you talk to Dick, I'm sure he will understand that stuff a lot better than we do. So by the way, Lynn Ryan, I don't know if you guys see it on your screen, but she responded that she's Lynn Ryan, 93 South Shore Road.
Oh.
That's the other attendee that Carol was referring to. So in conjunction with all this, I guess, we should have on this agenda communications. It's a standard item on all our agendas. I don't see it on this particular printout I have, but we also have this other one, Donnie, that you sent to us about the creek being breached today.
Yeah, it was breached yesterday.
Oh, sorry. This letter was from yesterday. Yeah. And it looked like, from what I saw, that picture that you sent, it almost looked like there wasn't any beach parking lot at all.
No.
Unless
Yeah. So Don Medeiros, at the fire drafting access, that's basically the narrowest point of the beach. There's a very large, there's several areas along the beach of extensive scour and erosion from very recent storms. If you get on there and take a look, you'll be pretty shocked. The worst one is right at that fire drafting access, and it extends out into the beach parking lot, the erosion, and extends back into the creek. At that point, the beach is now only 50 feet wide from the back of the parking lot to the beachfront. Is now in the current condition yesterday, it's now that narrow. It's very much pretty precarious situation.
So if that had broken through, Donnie, we'd essentially would have had a creek right there and no access to the rest of our parking lot, right?
That's correct. And we would have had a pretty expensive fix to try to come up with. The last time that situation occurred was Hurricane Irene. Hurricane Sandy resulted with the creek channel being filled in with material, and Hurricane Irene was right after that. Unless I've got the two hurricanes in reverse, but the first hurricane filled in the creek channel. The second one, which I believe was Irene, basically the creek had no means of draining because the channel was full, so it broke through the beach and cut across the corner from northeast to southwest. And we got FEMA money to repair it. Went to public bid. The estimates were coming in. I think the average estimate was, Bill, was around 200,000, wasn't it, or more?
Yeah, there's one 230, 190, 195, and then there was one 110 or 20, something like that.
And where that broke through, Donnie, was way further down the beach than where it would have happened this time, right?
That's correct. It started at the northeast or back right-hand corner of the parking lot if you're standing with your back to the ocean.
And came diagonally?
And it cut diagonally across, almost like on a line that might parallel that TNC line on the map. You know what I mean? Seriously, that's about what it did.
Yeah.
So it was pretty, the pond was full right up to the point. You saw the picture that showed the entire east end of the beach was underwater. The only thing sticking above pond level was the very top of the berm that extends behind where the campers would normally be parked. That little berm right on the back edge of the parking lot, it was just sticking above the water. So that the erosion channels, the pond being full, the material on the beachhead in front of the at the creek outlet had been built up by the waves, bulldozed up by the waves. So essentially we had this natural dam across the creek outlet, and the pond, over full. Pretty precarious situation. I mean, that's ripe for catastrophic conditions, failures. So that was the observation.
All right, well, I think that covers that communication. Do you anticipate any kickback from CRMC as a result of that?
Well,
You notified them, right? Did they respond?
no, we haven't. I haven't got a response from them. I don't know if anyone in town has. We've CC'd town manager and chief of police on the email. So,
But you did notify them before we did it, right?
that's correct.
Yeah. All right. So that's that communication. And there's some other pretty heavy agenda items, but we have one more communication that's pretty light and easy to deal with. That
One other quick thing along that same line with that last bit.
Yep.
Phoebe's a property manager and stuff like that, approached us also. When the pond gets that full, their bridge to access to all the houses down there was underwater by 8 inches.
Oh, wow.
So they also have problems and issues when that pond backs up.
That's right. That is pretty low, that area.
Yep.
All right. So we have
Well,
one more communication that came.
That might actually be why they were doing some digging down there, apparently, trying to breach the creek. It looked like from what we saw, digging in tire tracks and whatnot, that I think, and that would make sense if that bridge was underwater, which I don't doubt it based on the pond level. That might explain the tire tracks that we saw down there.
So somebody else was trying to breach it, Don?
I believe so, from what I saw from digging there and tire tracks and whatnot.
With a machine?
Yeah.
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 All right. So this other communication that we got is from the surf camp, Anna Barron. And she says, I hope this finds you all well. I'm writing on behalf of the Little Compton Surf Camp's owners just to keep the line of communication open. We know nothing is for certain this year, but we wanted to show our intention to run the camp and all lessons if we're allowed to do so. Thank you for your consideration, communication support, and beautiful service you always provide to our community. Warmly, Anna Barron. So, I mean, I guess none of us know yet from the state what's going to happen, but I personally think that they've always been fine companions there, and would fully support them to continue whatever that they want to do. So maybe Cindy can write a letter to them just saying that, and we'll all know more. At least that's my motion, for her to write a letter, and that we'll all know more when the state gets involved and says what can and can't be done.
Two quick things on that. With the letter, I would say right now, I have been talking with Rhode Island DEM because we've been helping them out with protocols for the summer. It does look like things like camps and things like that are going to run this summer. But again, the way everything has been so far, it's subject to change with a moment's notice.
Yeah, you never know with politics, right?
Yeah, as far as the Barons are concerned, I would say it's a go. Just saying that the only things that we'll need out of them are the insurance papers again, and them filling out their opening Rhode Island business plan and having that posted at the front gate.
Okay, so Cindy, are you hearing that?
I'm listening. Yep.
All right, so if you could respond back to them with that information. I'm just looking here. Yeah, you were copied on it, so you should have that
I
email.
do. I have it. Yep. Right in front of me.
Okay. All right, that covers that. Oh, sorry, that was I'll make a motion that send that letter.
Yep.
Sorry, Bill.
Do I have a second?
Second that, Michael Focarelli.
All in favor?
Joe Mayato, aye.
Michael Focarelli, aye.
Don Maderis, aye.
Bill Ryan, aye. Motion carries. Okay, Joe, what's the next?
All right, the next item, discuss strategic plan for maintenance and repair improvements to town beaches.
Did we, where did we leave that the last time? I'm at a bit of a loss.
I think were you at the last meeting, Donnie? I think
I
you and
believe-
Mike,
Yep.
Yeah, I was.
Oh,
I
so
think it was,
this is, Joe, this is something that we keep carrying over?
yeah.
Yep. So,
So we don't need to take any action with it. We're gonna just carry it forward right now.
yeah, so I think that what we did was that we made a motion to put that on the next agenda.
Okay. So are you moving that? I'll second it.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay.
all in favor?
Michael Fogarelli, aye.
Joe Mayado, aye.
Don Maderis, aye.
Bill Ryan, aye.
All right, the next item I might be related to everything that we were just with the long discussion about, but it says, discuss whether the CRMC has the right to record the 10-year permit with the town. Is that the land evidence records issue? I'm not sure what that is.
Yeah, I'm not sure of the wording of that, what we were trying to, because CRMC doesn't record permits. They issue permits, and the landowner, the permit, whoever gets the permittee, I think.
Yeah, I think the
record.
wording there might just be a little off.
Irregardless of the wording, so long as it's an original document, anyone can record anything in land evidence records. So there really isn't a question whether a property owner did it or CRMC themselves or Joe
Maybe it's
Mickey
not so
Mouse.
much the right to record it, but what they recorded. Where they were recording the fact that TNC owned the land, right? Does that make it so? Because anybody can record anything?
No,
Anybody,
sorry, Carol, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, anybody can record anything, but that doesn't make it change the title. If it was alluded in the permit that you disagree that they owned the property, that just actually creates a cloud that in the future will need to be cleared up.
Right.
And until that's clear, it just stays on record.
So I think that's really part of that previous discussion that we had where Donnie's going to talk to Dick Humphrey and all that. It's all the same matter.
Yeah,
Right.
I would just suggest you do that sooner rather than later. A lot of this could go away if you can just get that one aspect taken care of.
That makes sense. All right, so the next item on the agenda is the consideration of beach elevation work pertaining to MRP grant application.
Municipal Resiliency Program.
Oh, thanks. Sorry.
That's
So
okay.
that's the one that Larry was working with, right?
Yeah.
It is. It
What
is.
ended up happening with that? Did we get it?
I don't think it's been awarded yet. It should be the end of this month that we hear.
February 22nd.
Yeah, I know
So
it's
should we
coming up
carry
soon.
that? Should we carry that to the next meeting then?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
I
a
think you
week from
should.
today until it, all right, so Cindy, can you carry that to the next
Yes.
agenda? And also, don't forget to put on the communications thing on the next agenda too. And then continued discussion on protocol from upcoming beach season. But sorry, I'm reading ahead to the last item, which that last item is discuss meeting with town solicitor regarding First Creek. That one and the 10-year permit issue, that's all one thing. So that'll all be taken care of. So that last item we don't have to deal with. So the last thing is discussion on protocol for the upcoming beach season and budget. And I think that was primarily related to like the biggest difference or biggest item on there was regarding protocol was the security and all that. And I think, I don't think we ever voted on it necessarily, but I think we've all been in agreement that in support of Jimmy and what he has said, how beneficial it was. I think all of us were in support of continuing to have the security on the weekends at night. Am I correct with that?
Yeah, they would be 7 days a week.
Oh, okay.
If you guys want to, one of the things we need to deal with is the budget because we need to get the budget warrant to Carol ASAP.
Right, but can we first just have an official vote on that, the protocol related issue?
Sure.
So I'll make a motion that we proceed this coming year as we did last year with the security program. And as regards protocol, it's going to be whatever the state dictates to us. But I think it's going to be at least as good as it was last year, I would say.
Do I have a second on this motion
Yeah, I'll second
or
that.
discussion?
Michael Focarelli, I'll second that. The motion is to continue the same protocol that we had
Yes.
last year. Yeah, I will second
Right.
that.
All in favor?
Joe Mayotto, aye.
Michael Focarelli, aye.
Don Maderis, aye.
Bill Ryan, aye. Motion carries.
All right, now, Jimmy, you sent 6 attachments to that email. So do you want to walk through those budget documents? And by the way, just as a reminder, proposed as PRO.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to hire you as my spell checker. All right. Basically, the first document is the warrant that we need to get back to Carol, so they can put that up before the town council.
Right, now you had 2 versions of that though, Jimmy. There was
Yeah.
another one that just had that 1 page, and one says 50,000 and one says 25,000, right?
Yes.
What was that other, the second document, it shows only 25,000.
That might have been from last year.
They both says 2021, 2022.
Okay, well, I'll read over the warrant for the 21-22. It says to Carol Wardell, Town Clerk, Little Compton, from Little Compton Beach Commission. Please include the following warrant in the annual financial town meeting. First article is to see if the town will appropriate the sum of $224,700 generated from current fiscal year's town beach revenues for operations of the town beaches in the ensuing year. Does everybody feel comfortable with that? Okay.
Yes.
Next article, next line down is, we talked with Tony already, and because of the MRP grant there and stuff, and the fact that the 35,000 that was in the article last year for upgrading the parking lot is still there. And that was what they were going to use as a town contribution in with the MRP grant. So we can eliminate the next line that says to see if the town will appropriate the sum of $50,000 or whatever lesser amount to remain in the Beach Commission account at the end of the fiscal year to be put in at a South Shore Beach parking lot upgrade, maintenance and permanence funding used by the Beach Commission, sole purpose of upgrading and maintaining the South Shore Beach parking lot. That we can, think we should eliminate, because
So
again,
should that say 15 then, Jimmy? The difference between the 50 and the 35 that remains?
now the 50,000 was just put in there to put a number in there. And this was when we thought we were going to be paying for this totally. But now with that grant there,
If we get the grant.
if we get the grant, yeah.
So we're going to
basically-
find out whether we get the grant next Monday. Carol, is that enough time? Can we wait till after Monday to give you this thing?
You have to give it to me by March 1st. So you will have to have another meeting in order to change your number.
Well, what if we set it up this time so that it's either, so that it reflects correctly whether or not we get the grant? We can vote on that now, and then it can go one way or the other. Have 2 alternates, and Jimmy will present you with the correct one.
You can do it that way, or you can vote it a dollar figure in there and have yourself withdraw it later if you feel you don't need it.
At what point, Carol, at what point would we withdraw that? After it's already in the warrant?
Well, I don't actually type the warrant until 7 days. Well, I type it before that, but it gets posted 7 days prior to the town meeting.
Okay.
Now, that's not to say that budget committee report and all that other stuff goes out earlier than that. So you probably have the beginning of April that it could still be pulled before it goes to print.
So that's plenty of time then. Why don't we, I guess, vote on it based on as though we didn't get the grant, And then we can just pull that out. We can, vote that will automatically get pulled out if we get the grant to offset that, right?
Yep.
Next question would be to Donnie. Do you think 50,000 is enough to cover what we want to do for upgrades? If we don't get the grant?
Well, it may be for the municipal, for the permit work in the municipal, the permit that CRMC just gave us,
Yeah.
which we use to file for the municipal grant. However, we've gotten a lot more erosion in the last,
Yeah,
in the last month or so. So it's a little bit hard to say. I mean, last winter was kind to us. This winter's been, and fall have been pretty unkind. Who knows what more is in store? So how do we try to forecast what kind of damage we may end up with?
do you want me to maybe touch base with Chris Wilkie to just get an estimation of what he thinks it's going to cost to straighten out things and maybe do some of these upgrades? Or
Because what do
you
we,
want to reach out to him?
I can reach out to him, Jim, maybe. So there's less people reaching out to him, or if you want to, I don't.
Yeah, if you want to take care of that, because you know more of what you want to do engineering.
My guess
wise.
is he probably have questions, want clarification too from me, so maybe that would help.
Yeah, all of this is an estimate anyway, but it seems to me that it's important for us to at least be able to be in a position to take a vote tonight, and then maybe that vote can include that number, the final number that gets submitted to Carol will be adjusted for that particular item will be adjusted based on your discussion with the contractor and what his estimates would be.
Okay, and again, to just bring up what my meeting with Tony earlier about the setting up the budget, he was saying that the 35,000 more than covers what the town contribution to the project will be, the town contribution to that. So again, if it comes up, we get that grant, we can eliminate that entire article off of this budget warrant.
If we don't get the grant, we've got the 35 to use to repair the beach, plus whatever additional we might ask for tonight, or we might vote to ask tonight.
Yeah, I think that to be on the safe side, we vote this in as this is. And then once Carol has it, she's going to have like almost another month before the thing actually gets publicized and all that. We can always pluck it out.
All right.
All right. So the next item, Jim?
Next article on the list is to see if the town will appropriate the sum of $6,000 for replacement of 3 rescue boards.
Well, I'm supportive of that. We put that off from last year. We didn't do anything last year.
Yeah.
And that was already should have been in our, that was in our minds already to do that last year. So I'd like to see that go.
Okay.
How about you guys?
Yep. On Maderas, yes.
Okay, last one is to see if the town will appropriate the sum of $25,000 for replacement of the changing rooms and repairs of the gate shack, goose wing, lifeguard shack, and the last part about some of these funds may be offset by state grants is not applicable in this anymore. So again, I have not heard, Bill, I haven't heard from the contractor yet at all about what he thinks the cost will be for
Yeah, weren't you meeting with somebody on that, Jimmy?
No, I wasn't. Bill knows the carpenter, and so
I talked to him. He said he sent it, but I guess it got messed up, and I haven't spoken to him since.
Yeah.
But he said he sent it, but I think it got eliminated somewhere. So what I'll do tomorrow is maybe I'll catch him and bring it in. I've tried to catch him over the last couple of weeks because Jimmy has asked me to ask him again. So I will do that.
Again, do we want to include this, or do we want to, this is something that doesn't have to be done right now, but.
I think we should include it, Jim.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we included here, and when we vote this, that we also, based on the chairman, Bill Ryan's discussion with the contractor, in case they need to adjust that amount. Just so we don't have to have another meeting just to do this, get everybody to get that. So now, Jimmy, what about the rest of the documents here?
Okay, the next one we get into is the budget, 21, 22. They're looking for a projection of income. This projection of income is based on us doing similar to what we did last year. One of the added lines, the big subject there is whether we're going to charge the town stickers.
Right. So that item, I think, is something that we have to take a vote on now so that we know whether or not that's going to be included in the budget. I know that I've spoken already of how I feel about it and why. I don't think I need to do it again, but if anybody has any questions, I'm going to make a motion that we stick with the way that we've been doing it for all these years and not charge for town stickers, and just have the town budget be picking up that amount as they always have in the past. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm going to be mad or anything if they don't agree with me on that. But I feel strongly about it, and that's my motion.
Okay, do I have a second on that emotion?
Michael Focarelli, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Michael
Joe
Focarelli,
Miato, aye.
Michael Focarelli, aye.
Don Maderis, aye.
Bill Ryan, aye. Motion
Thank you,
carried.
gentlemen. Thank
Then
you.
I will eliminate that income line off of the budget for 21, 22.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Okay, I think the rest of it's pretty self-explanatory.
Yep.
My best guess at what we think we're going to pull in next summer. Next page is the capital expenditure. Basically, it's not changed from the year before. It's still, riding things out. I mean, like the rescue boat rides out to 2040, for replacement time. The motor till 2030.
I really like how you're doing this, Jimmy, because you're planning ahead, instead of just waiting until the last minute and, hey, we got to buy a brand new boat,
Yep.
This is good.
So I guess if everybody's happy with that, we'll stick with that.
Yeah.
It does have the catastrophe fund on there. Obviously, we did not get our $100,000 put into that we expected for 2020. But again, addressing that issue, another issue, that we might sit down again with Tony about seeing whether the funds from the beach can get put into a separate account instead of going directly into the general fund. So that
Jimmy, did we have any luck, or maybe Carol, I don't know if you're more suited to respond to that, but did we have any luck in recovering any money? I know Jimmy provided reports for COVID for the state. Did we get any money back, or does the town just get that? How's that going to work?
I know that there will be some funds coming back to us. I'm assuming once they come back in, they're going to get put back in the buckets where they came out of. So if the beach spent X number of dollars, then it would go back into the beach account, or it should.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And again, I talked with Joe, the financial guy now, and he is getting together documents to send out to the state. Yeah, I think he sent his whole thing out on the 9th and stuff like that. Again, I did send you guys all out basically a breakdown of what it cost us last year. Extra expenditures like nighttime security, signs, and projected lost revenue last year. So again, he's going to base a lot of that on, that was included in that document that they sent out to the state.
Now, Jimmy, what were your assumptions on increases in salary for these budget purposes? What percentage increases?
Basically, we're looking at, the yearly bump up of, 25 to 50 cents an hour, depending on whether they're senior staff or just returning standard guards, and whether they're senior gate personnel, et cetera.
So we should probably vote on that, right, Billy, to
Yeah.
approve the new salary levels?
Yes.
And again, that's on the last page. It has a basic breakdown of all the base salaries.
All right, and I'm going to make a motion on that so that we can have that going forward. But I'd like to find out Jimmy, I'm sorry, but what are we paying you right now? A year?
$27 an hour. We're using
What's
that
the
as
annual?
annually. Usually it's between 20. Last year was 30,000. Previous year was 22,400. But last year we started a lot earlier and ran a lot later with programs and things like that we were doing.
And it's based on the hourly rate of what?
27 an hour.
Bill, do you have some thoughts on that?
Yes, I think we should up it. My
Yeah,
opinion.
I do too. I think that, frankly, we would be lost without Jimmy,
Right.
especially through this COVID year. And granted, he put in more hours and got more money, but I still think that I'd like to see that that rate increased. Does anybody have an opinion on what that should go to? Or a suggestion? How about 30?
I'll second that emotion.
Donnie, were you going to say something?
I was just curious, the last time how long ago, when was the last time we bumped up Jim's salary?
About 2 years ago.
It was about 2 years ago. Do you remember
2
what
to 3 years ago.
I think it was originally 25, like a while ago. And then
Yeah.
I think we went to the 27 and a half or so. And then, yeah.
I think 30 sounds reasonable, considering we'd be lost without Jim. He puts in a lot of extra time and effort and brings a tremendous amount of expertise to the table, as well as his management skills of the staff and just running the beach, his dedication. He's really on the job 24/7 for the most part when we're sleeping.
He's basically on call 24/7. I mean, and I know, a lot of times in the past, I've been down there at nights and he's there at night. I mean, he's very responsive. He's never not responded to anything that I've asked for.
Right.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion that we accept the increases for the staff that Jimmy has proposed in this current budget here that he documented for us, and also to say that his rate will go to 30.
I will second that. All in favor?
Michael Fulcarelli,
Tomato, aye.
Michael Fulcarelli, aye.
Don Maderas, aye.
Bill Ryan, aye. Motion carries.
All right, thank you very much, gentlemen. That covers most of the budget things. So I will take these documents and transfer them from drafts to documents. Again, the warrant, I will change proposed, number one, Joe. And then I will send it in the way it is worded right now. And then we can drop anything off of it that we decide later on.
All right, so I think that we need to, I'm going to make a motion that we accept the draft budget that Jimmy has proposed here and with the cleaning up that he's going to do. And also this motion is going to include that if the grant comes through, automatically we'll drop off that article that Jimmy referred to, the second article. And regarding whether Billy gets...
Last line on the second article says, I didn't read it off to you. Some of these funds may be offset by state grants.
Right.
So it covers the base if the grants do come through.
Right. And then on the last article, depending on if Billy gets something that's quite a bit different from that amount, that at the chairman's discretion, that number would automatically, that we're approving for him to be authorized to automatically adjust that number to what it needs to be.
Do I have a second?
I have a question. I'm still a little confused. We talked about the number to request, and we're requesting it as though on the assumption we're not going to get the MRP grant, just And if we get the grant and don't need it, then we can apparently withdraw. What number did we decide on? We know we've got 35 in an account that we can use for the beach, or we can use it towards the town share if we get the MRP.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think we're just gonna leave it at the 50,000 that's in there now,
we'll leave it at 50.
unless it's not needed, you know? And then the last article is the one that we're gonna adjust based on Billy's discussion with the contractor.
Okay,
And I made him,
And
I
that our
made him
vote
do
is
3 bids.
authorizing Billy to make that adjustment,
Yeah.
whatever it needs to be.
I made him bid on the ticket shack, the changing room, and Goose Wing. So at any point where we can cut one of those out, if need be.
Right, and I think
Not
that's up to
overextend.
Billy's discretion, whether he thinks, like, if the guy comes in and says, well, it's 45,000, and Billy says, okay, let's hold off on this for this year. I'm fine with Billy making that decision, and I'm gonna include that in my motion.
Do I have a second on this motion?
Don Madeira, second.
All in favor?
Joe Mayotto, aye.
Michael Focarelli, aye.
Don Madeira, aye.
Bill Ryan, aye. Motion carries.
Okay, and again, I will send this warrant to Carol the way it stands now.
Yes.
And we get any information that changes this, then I will approach her about we need to change it.
Okay,
Work with you, Carol?
Yes, that's fine.
Okay, all right, great.
All right, good. That is the last item. I think we just, Cindy, can you remind us what the date of the next meeting that we had put on the calendar, March?
March 16th will be the next date.
All right. Anybody have anything else for the agenda for the next meeting, other than the things that we said to carry forward and to add the communications in?
I would like to also just add operations for every meeting we have, so that we have things that come up like this that we can discuss
Okay.
issues.
Okay,
Again, I do know that we're going to be getting a bunch of, I've already got probably half a dozen letters or emails on camping, and told them that as long as COVID protocols are in place, there will be no camping. But again, this is something that's going to come up, you know, and stuff. Just looking down a couple of the other little knickknacks. I'm sorry, going back to a little bit of the protocols here. Some of the just protocols of what can happen in the lot and that sort of stuff, campers, lot capacity, that sort of stuff. So,
yeah, we'll have time at the next meeting to go over that stuff.
Okay.
But Cindy, when you carry that agenda forward, if you could combine those 3 items that I talked about as one item, the one that says review Nature Conservancy's request to CRMC, the discuss whether CRMC has the right to record a 10-year permit, and discuss meeting with town solicitor regarding First Creek. By that time, I'm sure that Donnie can give us an update as to how things went with Dick Humphrey and all that stuff, and just word something to combine those 3 items all together, because they're really all one item.
yeah.
Okay. Will do.
All right, so I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn at 8:07 PM.
Joe, I've got a couple of items to put on the next agenda as well. I think we should consider asking CRMC to for an emergency permit to fill in the erosion channels that have developed along the back of the beach. It wouldn't hurt to ideally to get to be able to dump some coarse 8 to 12 inch riprap in those areas, just to stabilize it until the spring parking lot work.
So you mean now as opposed to the just before the beach opens thing?
I think, maybe we should, commission members should take a walk down there and see for yourselves. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks to me it's significant enough.
So you don't think that the breaching has corrected that sufficiently?
I think it's taken away the impending, issue of the pond being full, not having any storage capacity and the draining through the creek. However, you've still got pretty significant erosion there. I mean,
Yeah.
it'd be nice if we knew when we were going to get a heavy surf event that's going to cause more more damage like that.
So
I mean,
you want to put an item on the agenda for the next meeting for us to discuss that then, right?
Yeah, I think that'd be worth discussing. Maybe some of the members can get down there ahead of time to see with their own eyes the way things are. So we could.
Donnie, along that line also, I am planning on going down and moving some of the parking lot stones that got moved and filling some of that in with stone. Again, I'm not a machine, so it's not gonna be a whole hell of a lot. I don't think it's something that really needs, that for me doing that, I don't think that'll piss off CRMC, but it will help slow down any erosion until the next meeting.
Yeah, we
All right, yeah,
it's
then when we,
definitely in your work trying to plug the holes there. It's definitely got your signature on it.
Yep.
We appreciate it.
yeah, well, when,
So
that item will be on the agenda for next time, and at that point, Jimmy will know a lot better, and who knows, in the next month, there could be more storms that we need to talk about.
correct. And another item I'd like to see is, and it's related to something we've already I approved and voted on in the past. And that was, we voted sometime in the past to support the fire chief in an application to install a dry hydrant there. I'd like to the degree that we need to, since I know we already voted to approve that, I think it'd be good to open up a discussion with the chief as soon as possible, because if he's still interested in doing it, I know this year with the drought, he said that was I think he said that was one of two places in town that when in the far extended period of the drought, severe drought, he was down to two places we could draft water from for fire protection. That was one of them. So I'm willing to bet it's still important on his list. The reason I'm thinking it would be great to see if that could be a reality is that might be a pool of a little more money to help with, if we're going to install a dry hydrant, maybe we can elevate the area around the hydrant and address that area, which may, if we can do that in concert with the other work that's already been approved, maybe we'd be getting a little more bang for our buck or covering a little more beach with the work to be done in the spring. I don't even know if that's feasible from the chief's perspective, but
why don't we
maybe
invite him to the meeting, Don? Why don't we invite him to the Zoom meeting for the 16th?
Do you want me to send him a letter? I can ask him to join.
Yeah. Why don't you
16th.
do that, Cindy? And
Sure.
in addition to putting it on the agenda, let's, instead of us just talking amongst ourselves about it, let's get him in on the discussion. And maybe we can put that on the agenda, like near the top, so he doesn't have to sit there for the whole meeting.
Good idea.
Okay, we'll do.
It will all depend on whether or not he needs to open up more vaccination sites.
Okay.
The days of the week that we will extend to, if we get more vaccine, will be Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. So,
Oh, and he's administering those on Tuesday evenings?
well, right now it's only Thursday and it starts this week. But if they do give us more vaccine, then it's a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday regime that we're planning on.
And he's personally
He's very involved
administering
in it.
those?
Yeah.
He's at every single one of the
Yeah.
vaccination sites. So
Carol, how are
We
people
can
being
invite him,
notified?
and maybe he can take a few minutes and get on his computer while he's there or something,
yeah, and we may not be on a Tuesday event cycle yet at that point, but
Yeah.
I just throw that out there that may cause a conflict.
Maybe
Carol,
is
what would we
Let's
do
go
with
ask Gina.
knowledge there?
I got 3 people asking me something. What are you asking?
I just said, what would we do without all your knowledge,
Oh,
your
Yeah.
institutional knowledge?
Hey, Joe, I'm wondering, Don Maderas is a fallback in case the chief can't make the next meeting. Should I reach out to him just to discuss his thoughts, and then if he can't attend, maybe I could report what his thoughts are from his own mouth?
Sure. I don't think there's a problem with you being a committee of one and having a discussion with him,
Okay.
but it'll still be on the agenda, Cindy, right? And you're going to invite him?
Yes, it will. Yes.
So Carol, maybe we should call Gina to see what she thinks about it.
I think you
I heard-
adjourned already, didn't you?
I heard that Gina was, am I wrong? I've been out of the loop, but is Gina accepting another position somewhere else?
It won't, they postponed it to this coming Friday.
Oh,
She's not talking to the people.
It's under a gag order. All right, we're adjourned now, right?
all right. So it is 8:13,
8:13.
the adjournment, as opposed to whatever the time was when I tried to do it last time.
Who seconds it?
It's just a statement of adjournment. You don't have to say that it was seconded.
Okay.
All right.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right.